Welcome to Adult Puzzle, a podcast where we talk all things adulting.
We all know adulting is a scam, right?
Real scam, very real scam. Honestly, no one knows everything, so we're all in this together.
One puzzle at a time.
We're puzzled together, man. Hello. Hi, guys. Welcome back to your favorite podcast, Adult Puzzle here. We are back again for another weekly drop of gems to your ears. I am Lolade, Lola, whatever your heart desires, per usual. And with me is Lamide, my partner in crime over here. Lamide, how
That's
far?
right.
How you doing?
I did. I'm good. I'm very fine. Very excited. I'm happy to be back. Yeah.
Happy to be back. How was your week?
Week was weekend. I enjoyed it a lot. I did a lot of things. I'm happy. I went out a lot.
Oh, where'd you go
Yeah, I
to?
enjoyed myself. Work too was good. Everything was fine. Perfect. The weather was amazing. And yeah, I feel good. I feel great actually. Had an amazing week. A really, really
Wow,
amazing week, if I might
that's
add.
nice. Where did you go to, please? Spill.
Well, well,
You know
I
me, I'm
went
a born
to
over one.
I went to like a I went to like a visual arts thing, like an illusion thing. I don't know how to explain it. It's like an art center thing, but they play with like lights and things like that. It was really, really cool. It's not the Van Gogh experience, but it's something similar.
Oh, that sounds cool.
So yeah, it was really, really, really nice. And then
Did you go by yourself?
no, I didn't. I went with someone and it was nice. And
Okay.
yeah, did some other fun things as well. Which other things did I do? A lot. I did a lot.
Okay, that's nice. That's nice.
I
I'm
did a
glad you had
lot.
a good week.
How was
That's
yours?
amazing. Um, I feel like I slowly crawled out of the tunnel I was in last week. So it was definitely much nicer than last, but it wasn't still like oh my gosh, great. I'm hoping to have that like next week, but I can feel it coming. I can feel it coming. Today we have very, very special guests. I think this is our first four-way, and I know that sounds a certain type of way, but maybe it's actually gonna lead into the conversation we're having today. But
Hmm.
we have a four-way conversation today. We have four of us on the line today. We have Femi, our third partner in crime here in AP, and her
The
amazing
vibes.
the vibes, and her amazing partner Dubem. Hi guys.
Hi,
What it
adult
do,
puzzle.
baby?
So nice to be here. So nice to be back.
No,
Not
Femi,
Femi
we
already
love
feeling at home and already be like, so nice to be
Hey.
back.
you. Get. We need to go back to our contract and figure out how to bring
Oh
Femi
my
here
god.
because oh
I
my
can
gosh, thank
already
you so
feel the
much.
email coming like, oh, where's
hmm
Femi? Where's
Where's
Femi?
Femi?
Where's Femi?
Literally. Same thing happened last season. I think it was after Chibuike's episode. People messaged and they were like, "Oh, where's Chibuike?" I'm like, "He was a guest." Femi, that's gonna be you. But welcome, Dubem. Hi, welcome to the podcast for the first time. How are you feeling?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. I'm just hearing big. I just want to say something. Let me just say something now.
Okay,
Let me
okay.
put it. Let me put a little. What do you call this thing? Time capsule. Hey, anybody, if you're hearing this podcast 5 years in the future, when they are blown, I was here. I was. Remember
Yes,
me? They put me on. I was
Yeah.
here.
yes, please. Thanks for
Love
supporting
it.
us in our beginnings, humble beginnings. Okay, guys. So I want to say something. Like, there's so many firsts today. The first thing is, it's the first time we're having four people on air. That's one. Second thing is, it's the first time we're having someone for the third time. We've had doubles, but we've never had a third time. So, Femi, you're hitting so many first. And then the other thing is, it's the first time we're having a couple on air, like a very healthy couple.
It's good. It's good. It's good.
Okay, so for today's conversation, we are talking about something extremely interesting. I actually don't think I've had this conversation with any of my friends before, so
Mm.
I'm very curious to see how things unfold. What we're talking about today, guys, is body count.
Drum roll, please.
body counts, I feel like that in itself is self-explanatory. If you need me to explain what body counts means, then maybe you shouldn't be listening to this episode. So I'm not gonna explain it. So we're talking about body counts today. No, for real now. I mean,
It's time to sleep.
It's time to sleep.
okay. So Femi already knows this, but Dubem, this season, I
Mhm.
don't know if you've listened to any of our last seasons, but this
Yeah.
season, what we're really trying to do is embody our name in all of its wholeness, like adult puzzle. We're
Mhm.
trying to solve puzzles on air. So we are
Mhm.
going to throw scenarios at each other, and the whole
Mhm.
intent here is for us to like answer as honest as possible how we would deal with the situation or how we would
Mhm.
handle the scenario, right? So less of like general, more so like put yourself in the shoes. And I know you and Femi are a couple, but for a few minutes on this podcast,
Hey,
just assume
few
assume
minutes
Then
can do a
it's a
lot too.
trap.
Few minutes
It's
can do a
a
lot too.
trap. Do not fall for this. This is how
Few
they
minutes
come.
can do
In
a
all the
lot too.
sweetness. Do not fall
oh
for
Eh.
yeah,
this
now
trap.
wait now, Femi, do we have a circle of like trust here? A
Oh
few minutes.
yes, it's a safe space, isn't it? Abi, it's a safe space
Hey.
now.
I can feel the babe do the calculation.
She said stuff.
The babe
My
is
head they
like,
burn. And they calculate.
oh my god, but we're just joking, man.
Okay, so this is the scenario. I'm posing it to all of you guys. I want to hear what your takes are, all of you. We're having a game night, right? It's a huge game night. There's a lot of people. It's my friends, Lamide's friends, Jubim's friends, Femi's friends. So there's a good mix of people, right? And it's pretty fun. Just assume each of you here is vibing with somebody. So let's even say Dubem and Femi, you guys are vibing with each other, but you're not yet years down the line. You just met, right? Exactly. You're vibing and you're really excited to get to know one another after tonight, like further. And then towards the end of the night, like I said, it's a game night, it's a games night. There is a very intense round of truth or dare that is going on, right? And then you find out that the person you're vibing with, their body count is about 30 to maybe 50.
Just
Um, how do you handle this, right? Like, do you keep getting to know the person? Like, what's your reaction and how do you move forward?
Who's taking this one first?
I feel like Lamide should.
Lamide, over to you.
I have a
But
lot to say. I have a lot to say. I will
Yeah, same.
gladly go ahead.
mhm.
Know who? That's where it ends. 30. That's two and a half football teams. No, no, no,
Ah,
no, 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 no.
Wait, what's the football team? Sorry, ignorance here.
11.
11.
11. Okay.
What are we talking about? Like, no, no, zero, bye. Like, we can be friends. You know what? I probably would not like make a big deal out of it. Like, but I'm not like gonna pursue on my end.
Mhm.
You get what I'm saying? So that's too high for me, especially because like I'm not that old. Do you get what I'm saying? So I'm already doing the maths. Like, okay, how are
Not that
you?
old.
Bodies on bodies on bodies on bodies. No,
Bodies,
nah.
bodies, bodies.
Some snowfall things. Like, nah, we ain't doing that. Like, no, we
Okay,
ain't doing
that's
that.
fair.
It's just 30 is a lot, 40 is a lot, 50 is a lot. Like, why?
What if she's a bit older? Let's say she's 30.
30 I can understand, bro. 30
So
I
she's
30
30
I
and she
get.
has 30.
30 I get. The 30 experience. I get it. Like, you're older, like, from 25 to 30, people wow out, So, like,
Mhm.
you can be discovering, like, sowing your royal oats, just
Mhm.
discovering your body type of situation.
So
Wow.
30, you can still, keep getting to know her.
Mm-hmm. 30,
Okay.
I can keep getting to know her. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, okay.
I like your explanation. Okay. Dubem or Femi, who wants to take it next?
I feel like we should alternate it.
Yeah, yeah,
Guy,
yeah.
girl.
Femi, what's your take? I like that.
Smart man. I love
Assuming
this
not
boy, man.
not Dubem saying we should alternate it.
Me, I just want to go
I
last.
anyways, I was going to say I disagree with, but anyways, Okay.
Hey.
I feel like I have a question for the question.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
because in general, asking about somebody's body count when you're getting to know them is quite invasive, right? And for me personally, and I also think body count is also a personal preference. So just like Lamde has said, for him now, finding out a girl's body count is 32 figures, it's like, yeah, that's scary. I wouldn't do that, right? And I think that's okay. That's your personal preference. But there's some people who hear 30 and be like, oh, okay, you're all right. You okay, you're chill. Let's get to know each other. So I think at the end of the day, I feel like there's something we need to establish here is that it's a personal preference.
Wait, Femi, wait. What did I say before? What did I say before? Put yourself. Yes, I agree with you. Like, I'm not gonna knock that. I do, and I feel like that's why we're having these conversations to kind of see the huge realm and differences that are out there in preferences, right? I don't think one is
Mhm.
better than the other, or one is right or wrong, right? But I think it's just curiosity of let's see what everyone thinks. What would you do? And I do agree with you. It is kind of an invasive question, and we'll get there. But remember, this is a games night. That's why the scenario was kind of how it was. The games night, truth or dare. The person decided to go for truth. They decided to say their truth. How do you now handle it?
Now, in this case, the guy has told me his body count, or he's asking me for my body count,
No, he said,
right?
okay, so it's
It's
a
a
truth
treat
or
there.
dare.
Femi,
Yeah.
just
He's
take it like it came out, like the
came out.
information came out.
He said it like he's the one that came out with it, right? Not just to you, like it's a game with
It's a
multiple
game to
people.
everybody.
Yeah.
Personally, that's fine. It's like, okay, sure.
You keep getting to know him.
I probably might. Actually, wait. You said 30, right? For me, like 30 would definitely be the max.
Hmm.
So if it's anything more than that, it's like, okay, like I'll respect that, but I wouldn't continue, like look to continue anything further with that person. So I think for me, what I'm saying is like personally, 30 will be the max. So if I hear that in if that came up in the games night, I'll be like, oh, okay. But if it was something like 50 now, then I would be like, okay, but yeah,
No
no,
one's asked.
not me.
Yeah,
Maybe somebody else. Yeah.
I feel that. I feel that. Thanks for the honesty. Jubim, how about you?
Let me just say the truth, as has been asked. Me, I would describe myself as a body sexual. If the
Okay, I
person
like
is a
that.
baddie, I feel like I'll just forget. I'm going to be very honest. With what's going to be
Thank
going on
you.
that whole night, for me personally, yeah, as long as it doesn't keep coming up, like every time we go out, all of a sudden they're asking you what's your body count, and I keep hearing 30, 30, 30, 30.
Mm,
If I hear it once, if I like, just push it, just keep it out of your mind, just keep pushing. That's it, man. Like as long as I'm attracted to you and I'm not hearing
Sorry,
it
I have to
constantly,
interject.
like it's not in my
I'm
head
sorry, I have to
constantly.
interject.
please do, please
Mhm.
do.
I
Ah,
have to
hey,
interject because I was
hey.
also going on a tangent and I was like asked to come back to the scenario. So
Which
Jube,
tangent have I gone
you
off
have
on?
to really
Which? Okay, okay. Sorry,
it's
sorry.
not a matter of going out.
Can
But I was also
somebody?
gonna say like, no, we're talking
Okay,
about
we
this
are saying okay,
particular
scenario.
scenario.
Okay, so in the
Yes.
party, yeah, would I want to
Yes.
continue getting to know that person after hearing 30?
Hmm.
Definitely. If she's a
Hmm.
baddie, definitely.
Yeah,
Yes.
I feel like he answered it though. No, that's fair, and I feel like that's very honest. Okay, I like that. For me, quite frankly, yeah, for vibes, definitely. Like like you, Dubim, if he's attractive and I feel like he's a nice looking man, let's vibe.
Thank
However,
you. However,
to be
do.
serious is a no. And also, I feel like we spoke about this a while. It might also just be where I'm at in my life right now. I'm not looking for anything
Mm-hmm.
serious, so maybe because I'm on my vibes train. When I'm off this train, then that might be like a hell no for me. But definitely, like
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't. I think already hearing that number, like you guys, there's going to be indications of like, yeah, I don't know if I could take this any seriously. But if the guy is attractive and like truly we've been vibing all night, I wouldn't mind.
Vibe
Like, okay,
check one two. Vibe check
let's
one
keep
two
this
one two.
vibes thing going on.
30 is just a lot, man. Like, yeah.
Okay, let's now talk about it, right? For everyone here, and I feel like everyone has different perspectives. Does body count matter to you? Why not?
Ging, ging, ging. Are we flipping the order? Or
Oh, you want me to go first? Okay. If I'm being completely honest, right? It matters, but to a certain extent. And I'll try and explain this as best as I can. Yeah. If you don't have any experience, yeah,
eh,
don't really like come to the table with something, like
mhm, mhm.
I don't want you to come without experience. So that's why for me, yeah, I want you to have something, right? And then like obviously we could both, because I do feel like sexual experiences is very different, especially for a woman's body. And maybe you guys can chime in and say it's different for guys, but like every woman's body is very, very different. So how Femi likes to be pleased is very different from how I like to be pleased. And so there is some unlearned, like you can't just copy and paste what you've learned and bring it somewhere else and expect it to work. So like knowing that, I still want you to come with some experience, right? And then we could both like navigate through our own experience, right? However, on the flip side, yeah, I don't want community property. I don't. So if you've been with a lot of people, that for me is not gonna sit well with me. And the way I kind of see it is like, and it's not even like sex shaming because I feel like, anyone can do what they want to do, live your life, whatever. But for me, I like the concept of, should I call it exclusivity or like rarity? I can't just be walking down the streets and
People are coming to hug your
maybe,
man.
as in, like, oh wow, you're with him now. Oh, okay. Like, no, like, I'm sorry, no, that's not gonna work for me. So on that, and to be honest with you, yeah, even if a guy's body count is relatively decent and he's been with people that I know, I don't even know if I can go there, truly. So I feel like I sit in that middle where like it does matter to me.
That's what we're not gonna do. No
Well,
middle.
there is a middle ground for me.
Two is a good number. He has had sex before. Three is a good number. At least he has sex
Oh no!
repeatedly
I
with
can't
his.
throw a number out there because I can't tell you have to have had three. No, because let me be real with you, it's less of the number. It's more of like what are you taking out of it, right? Like you can have been with
The
two women, but
quality.
you don't know shit. Thank you. You don't know shit. Like I'm
Okay,
sorry, but
I,
it's
I
still
have
I
no.
something
think
to
you could
say.
have
I
been
have
with
something
40
to say
women and
about
you
that.
wouldn't know shit.
Exactly.
Something to
Yes.
say about that,
Okay, Femi,
Lolade.
yeah, go ahead.
And
Yeah.
I hope this doesn't spiral into like a whole different aspect of the conversation. If it does,
Hmm.
please
Yeah,
let's
come on.
really back in.
No.
But
Go ahead.
Lolade, you know how you said, okay, so the main reason why you would want to know is because, or why it matters is based off experience. Right now, as we know it in today's world, in 2022, big
Hey, not the
2022,
calendar coming out. Shit.
Big 22.
there's still a lot of
Big two
double
two.
standards. There's still a lot of double standards when it comes to that because for you now, it's okay, or for women in general, it's okay to be like, oh, if a guy has a lot of body count, it counts as experience. But at the same time, women are getting shamed for that same thing. Like, oh, if a guy hears that a woman has 30 body counts, technically for her it could be, for some other guys it could be like, oh, she's well experienced, but most of the time it's always, oh yeah, she's for the streets, right? And I feel like
Yeah.
there's a lot of double standards when it comes to that. It's like, why can't you ever see it as an experience thing for the lady? Why does it have to be that, oh, now she's a hoe or she's a whore or she's whatever, she's for the streets? Whereas, women, we see it and we see it as, oh, it's experience, it's more of
Can I counter you
experience.
though? Can I counter you?
Okay.
I feel like
Mm-hmm.
for me, and I definitely agree with you, and I think that's something we're going to dive into much later, but I definitely agree with you. I think there is that double standards. But if I'm being honest too, that's why I said I don't like community property. A guy that has been with a certain amount of women and comes to me with a certain number, that for me is like the streets. There's nothing special about you.
Mm-hmm.
You are for, I don't know how to explain it, but like I could flip that to a guy, and that's how I see it too. And I know not every girl is like me, but I genuinely feel like I can flip that mentality that applies to girls to guys as well.
Definitely. And I'm just saying it as, I don't think it should be a thing where we girls see it as experience, but guys see it as the opposite. It's like we can also, if a certain guy comes to you with a number that you have in your head, again, it's your own personal preference. You have your own number in your head, what's acceptable to you or not. It's okay for us to also be like, yeah, 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 you're for the streets too, as a guy. But guys will be like, no, it just means we have more experience. Like, what are you saying? Like, it's okay for me to have this many body counts. You just mean, don't you want somebody who's experienced? Don't you want somebody? But then you tell them like, oh, okay, me too. I have this much bodies, and it's like, yeah, you're for the street. But it's like, no, I did it for the experience as well. Why are you shaming me? Like, it's like, why do we shame, why do women get shamed for having a certain amount, but guys, it's like, oh, it's experience for them. I don't know, it's weird.
No, I definitely get you. And the way I see it, right, is because I do, and that's why even when Lamide said they can't be that middle ground, I personally feel like both extremities in my world is never a good thing, right? So if you're coming to me with nothing, and if you're coming to me with every single thing, it's like, no. If I'm trying to equate it to, like, maybe you guys might not know this, but in project management terms, there is a point where, like, you start getting diminishing returns. It's like you're continuing to
Mm.
put in the same amount of inputs and stuff, but the outputs is not the same. Like, it starts to diminish, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
that's how I
Mhm.
see it with the experience thing. It's like there's a point where it's beyond just, like, the value has depreciated. What you
Mm.
equate sex to is no longer aligned. You're doing it for God knows what, right? You don't even know why you're doing it. You're just doing it just to do it. For me, that's not going to work. And that's why, in my head, once you've passed that point for me, I can't see you in that way because we don't align on how we see it. So, in my head, it's like I wouldn't even entertain something like that seriously.
So I was just trying to follow this up with a question for you, Loladi, because Lamidi
Mhm.
asked a very good question. Because you were explaining yourself. Me, I'm a,
Mhm.
I'm a numbers guy. I can't see the visuals without the numbers. You get me? So,
Okay.
what's that number that you will get to and you start feeling like a landlord, like you said, owning public property? Like,
You know what? I don't. It's so difficult for me because it's like I know when I hear the number. I mean, 30 for already was too much for me. Like I said, that one was just vibes, right? 30 is definitely. I think even 20 is way too much for me. But it's hard to be
we're,
like,
we're getting somewhere.
even if you're less than 20. I don't know. I think for sure.
How do
Okay,
you know
let me.
now?
No, I actually don't know.
Okay, I actually agree with something you just said now. I think I just remembered it as you were speaking. Is you will know when you hear it, to be honest. Like in the moment, it's like,
Yet,
Mm.
okay,
yeah.
well, let's
This is the
rethink
thing.
this
If you
conversation
guys
all over
truly want
again.
to force something out of me now, I'll say what might start to ring red flags for me if you're like 15.
Gentlemen, are you listening out there?
I
15, okay.
think for me, 15.
So,
But
potential
again, it depends.
suitors, pause your number. If you had 14 and a half, please,
So
for
you
your own
guys,
sake.
I read somewhere. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I read some. Okay, probably I did probably read it somewhere,
Mhm.
but somebody was saying that another thing is also, and I'm dialing it back to like the experience women have, because
Mhm.
more often than not, every time this conversation comes, is always because for guys the highest number wins. For girls, you have to keep it to the low, and it's always like, what the hell?
I mean, are you actually
Um,
serious about that though? Does the highest number? Because for me, that has never been a thing. The highest number
oh, you'll
wins.
be surprised what I did.
Oh wow.
Anyways,
But is it
um,
amongst women? Because I feel like highest number is within guys for highest number. That's where that works. If a guy was to take highest number and then tell a girl he's pursuing, I don't think that translates as well as it would in a group of
Exactly.
guys. Or is it just me?
In a group, in a group of women, you mean? Because for guys, I
Yeah.
feel
So
like you
so
guys
let's.
use it as a bragging rights, right? Like, oh, I'm
exactly.
this. No, but
Mhm.
if a
Mhm.
guy is telling a girl that, does she see that
Yeah.
as like,
Does
oh
she
yes,
take it?
you're
Yeah.
coming to me with? Because that for me
Some
is a red
girls,
flag.
Experience.
yeah, some girls see it as, oh, okay, he's more experienced. He'll definitely know what to
Oh,
do in the
interesting.
Mhm.
bedroom, type thing, right?
And the kind of person that I don't even want to hear it. I don't care. Don't even tell me.
Mm.
I agree with you when you said, you don't want to be going out and then random people are, hey, oh my God, Femi, I remember you, and they're hugging up on your girl. You go down the street again. Oh my God. It's like, okay, I see. And in your head, automatically, to be honest, in your head, it's going to just like, how many people know this babe? Like, how accessible is this
Mhm.
person? So you want to have that feeling of exclusivity. Now, is it realistic? No, it's it's not realistic. They've probably kissed your babe. They've done stuff to your babe. I just don't want to
Yeah.
hear it. Personally, for me, I just don't want to hear. That's why I would never ask that question. In terms of numbers, um, I was having this group discussion with my high school friends, yeah, and one guy was like, "Oh, we were like, I don't know how the conversation started," and this guy just said, "Oh, you guys are rookies." People were mentioning 10, people were mentioning 5, 8. Someone was like, "Oh, his number is in the hundreds." Alarm bells, immediate alarm in my head. I'm like, "How, bro?" And there's a guy, we're all guys, but in my head, how 100? How? For my partner or potential partner, number that would like, I think in the tens. Like if it's entering tens, I'll be like,
I was gonna
okay
say
now.
tens before, but I thought Lamde was gonna say cap.
But I also think. Let me add a little caveat.
Mhm.
If we are all being honest, we might say
Mhm.
tens because we are being pressed. I feel like sometimes it depends on how attracted we are to that person.
I was
Yes,
just
and how
about
much
to
you
Values,
say.
like them. Besides
I was just
attraction,
about
values they
to.
exactly values.
change.
I feel. Thank
Values they
you, and I
change.
think that's the thought process I was having. Is like, honestly, if you don't ask what you don't want to know the answer to. Pretty much
Mhm.
is how to summarize it. It's like if
Preach.
you if you're comfortable hearing somebody's body, if you're comfortable hearing somebody's body count, regardless of what figure it is, then ask. But if you know you won't be comfortable with what they give,
Don't
this
ask. I
you
like
don't
that. I
ask.
like that.
Don't ask. And then the other thing I was going to say is that most times too, a lot of people, this thing doesn't come up except they perceive you, especially guys, if you carry
Mhm,
yourself in a certain way as a girl. Like maybe, I don't know, it's like, oh, they see you looking some type of way and now they want to know, like, oh,
mhm,
this one seems like she might be promiscuous or something like that. And funniest thing is that that girl might not even have that many experience with guys. And then the girl that they see as, oh, she seems decent, that's now the person that might even have more bodies, right? So
Mhm.
I think another thing that guys used to judge that, and I think why they really ask that question, is just how they
mhm,
perceive the girl. And the
mhm,
truth of the matter is that, and I'm glad you just brought that up, to be, if you're attracted to somebody, I really don't think it would come up, honestly.
mhm.
And even if it does, like it wouldn't be. I mean, it's a personal preference, but it wouldn't probably be a deal breaker.
And I also feel like once someone has formed that opinion of you in their head, no matter what you tell them, they'll be like cap, cap.
Oh my gosh,
If you tell them,
yes. I actually had a
if
Mhm.
you
friend
tell them
experience
three, it's
this.
cap,
Yeah, yeah.
no
Mhm.
matter
That's
what you
so true.
say. So,
Perception.
And I
Yeah.
think that's what pisses me off, is because every time that I've seen this conversation come up, is just because, or maybe they see like girls that like just being girls, just having a good time, and all of a sudden now you're thinking this girl is promiscuous, or she's out there, she's for the street, she's for the world, and now you want to know. And even when she now tells you maybe something that, oh, does not fit, they already have a number in their head. But maybe if it
exactly.
doesn't fit that number now, it's like, yeah, you're lying, and then they just paint you as it's I don't know, it's trash. The way
I
guys think
mean,
sometimes.
just out of curiosity, even before I just go,
Mhm.
what's the body conversation like within girls, Femi and Lade?
Every time I've heard body count, is always guys
Yeah.
asking women.
I could come to Femi about an experience like, oh, like this was great sex, whatever, whatever, whatever. But for us to actually talk about like, oh,
Mhm,
how many people have you been with? I actually have
mhm,
never had this body count conversation with any of my
mhm.
friends before. Yeah.
Mm,
That's
And
very
that's why I'm like,
interesting.
every time it
Hmm.
comes
that's
up, it's
interesting.
always guys bringing it
Yeah.
up.
It is
Guys, fix
actually.
Right.
up. Oh.
To me, to be honest with you, I'll just say some things as I know them, to be honest. And I know the body count conversation is very tied to ego, to be honest with you. There's a certain type of possessiveness and property ownership that comes with bodies and relationships, if we are being honest with ourselves in today's world. you want to feel like you own something, or you own exclusive rights to someone, like Ladi alluded to earlier. And the honest fact of the matter, like Femi rightly said, is don't ask for what you don't know, you don't want the answers to. Like, in all honesty to yourself,
Don't be a
if you know
hypocrite.
that if you hear a certain number that will throw you off type of thing. Although on the flip side of that, you want to know how accessible someone
Exactly.
is, and how you feel, and how
Yeah.
you yourself as an individual view your body, because your body is your personal space. It's almost how some people look at their hair as sacred type of situation. Like, if you don't view your body as something personal and private to you, I'm already like red flags for me in your mentality on how you view yourself. Do you understand what I'm saying? And then it's like, okay, you yourself, when you tell yourself that number, do you not feel a certain type of way? Like, do you think it's normal? Do you think you are just having fun? Do you think, because let's not forget, there's also a psychological aspect to this conversation. It's like, why do you feel the need? And some people will say there's no psychological aspect to it, that you're just having a good time. But there is such a thing as too much of everything is bad. Do you get what I'm saying? And I personally, I don't I don't look for something in others that I have not found in myself. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't require of others what I cannot bring forward. So does it matter to me? It matters a lot. Will I ask outrightly in a relationship? I don't think I would. To be honest, that's the body count conversation. I think I will ask, or I have asked in the past, or how many boyfriends have you had, just for conversation type of thing,
Mhm.
and to learn more about what you can do better, and maybe why they broke up, and you kind of know like what the pet peeves are, what was the line or deal breaker in the previous relationships. But in all my years of dating, I haven't asked a girl, what's your body count? Just because I feel, one, it's invasive. Two, is like, what if I don't like what I'm going to hear? It's now a different thing. Like Dee said earlier, if we're walking down the street, or we're in the mall, or we're in Cabo, for instance, or the Bahamas, and let's say exactly, and it's like, hi type of thing, and I'm like, okay, and it's like, maybe when the person leaves, like, oh, do you know that person? Like, yeah, 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 we went to school in
Yeah, it's
London
fine.
together, type of situation.
We used
Like,
to we used to mess
okay,
around.
yeah, that type of thing. So it's like, I don't want that type of situation. Like, it happens once, I'm like, cool. It happens another time, maybe the next year, a dinner or something, for, I don't know, birthday dinner, and there are just some people that, there's this smiles whenever they finish hugging you. It's like, oh, I've been there, that type of situation. I don't want that. Or in a circle of friends where everybody already knows the person I'm
Oh
with
man.
on an intimate level type of thing. I don't want to be put in that situation as well. You can call that ego, but I don't want that. So that's why I'm just being as honest as
I
possible.
don't
There's a
think it's
certain
ego. I
level of,
think it's personal preference because I
Like
feel the
I was just
same way
about to
too.
say that. I was
I
just
don't
about
think
to say
it's
that.
ego.
Like
I
there's
think, yeah.
something that's central here and it's like personal preference. Like at the end of the day, and that's why I wanted to draw attention to it at the beginning of the conversation because a lot of our opinions around this topic is still going to come from
Hmm.
what we see as morally good to us personally, right? Like this the core thing here is still personal preference.
Yeah.
Now, where I think we now have to be mindful is not letting, don't judge and,
Exactly.
not being a hypocrite. It's okay to have a personal preference of, wanting the person that you want to your partner to have a, I don't know, whatever idea you have in your mind about how many people they should have been with, whatever. It's okay to have that preference. That's okay. But don't judge. I think that's
are
the,
we, Femi, sorry to cut you off. I agree totally with that, to be honest with you. I don't think I'm coming at the person that you're a bad person. No, it's just not my piece of cake. Correct. I agree with you 100%. But on the statement of judging, are we not internally judging though? Let's just
I
be
was going
real
to say
here.
that.
Like, real,
I was going to
I
real,
say
don't
that
real
think
on
so.
some
conversation.
level.
I don't. I don't think
On
so
On
some
some
because
level, we are
level,
judging. On
you're
some
not
well,
level, we
judging
are
at
only
judging.
all.
only
You
if
hear
truly you
50.
are.
Okay,
No, no,
go
no.
ahead, Vadim.
Only
Sorry.
if truly you are. Because the way I see it is that everyone has their preferences for different things, right? And so, if truly that is how you choose to spend your time, that is how you choose to, you know, work with your body, then that's on you. Like, I think me personally, I can wholeheartedly say no, I'm not judging. Because let me be honest, and this is how I know for sure it's a personal preference and not like a judgmental thing. Because even a guy that I really, really like, right, and he checks out all the boxes for me, but then I find out that like he's been with a lot of people, especially people that I may cross paths with, that is going to cause me to have certain doubts. That is going to cause me to always think twice about certain things. You see how that has a negative detriment on like our relationship, and that's why for me I would not put myself through that, right? So it's not now saying that like if there's another girl that finds that okay, I'm judging her for being with him. Do you get? I'm not a jealous person. I don't like to be jealous in a relationship. I don't want a partner that's jealous in a relationship. I want to feel very comfortable in what I'm at. And even if there are other people moving to you, I want to be comfortable feeling like, okay, yeah, nothing is gonna come at it. But when I know that there is history there, especially when it's multiple people that there's history there with,
Mm.
that makes me feel like, okay, there's too many players, too many cooks in the pot here. Like, yes, it might have been a cook from
So
two
many
years
players on the
ago.
pitch.
Do you get? And so for me, that's why I don't want, like, that's why body counts to me matters, because especially, and the way I'm saying body counts is, and maybe because of my own experiences, like sex in itself is something that like I put on a certain regard, right? And so for
Mm,
me, my sexual partners, like I have had a lot of emotional connection with them. And that's also maybe I'm projecting that on like the guys I've been with. So for me, it's like coming with a lot of that, to me, it's like I don't even want to be in the mix. So that's why for me, it does matter.
So me bringing up the whole judging thing, like do not judge, is because more often than not, I know like when you hear a particular figure, if it doesn't kind of correlate with what your personal preferences are, there's also like a little bit of internal judging that goes on. But I think me, why I'm bringing it up is while it's okay to just have that slight moment where you judge, I think it's also to really approach it with empathy and quickly shake it off, because the more you internalize that whole judgmental thing, the more you say you just miss Yan and you won't even know, because that's what's happening nowadays. Is like because of this whole internalized, you know, judgments that comes with on topics like
Upbringing.
this.
Mhm.
That's why a lot of people just tend to say things and they don't really see it as, oh, it's a big deal. Because one thing I feel like we have to remember is that some people don't have the body count that they have because they chose to. Like
Exactly.
sex is
Mm.
very, very, that's what I really want us to approach it from, like a place of empathy. Sex
Yeah.
is very is higgy haga, because there are people who have been sexually molested growing up, so now they're hypersexual, right? So for people
Yo.
like that, they could tend they probably, you know, have experienced more sexual encounters than somebody who has not experienced something like that. So that's what I'm saying, like when somebody tells you their body count, even if it does not match your own preference, while it's okay to judge, I think it's also to kind of like that the case of that person having high body count may not be, it doesn't necessarily mean that, oh, they were molested, now they're,
Yeah.
you know, but it's
Yeah.
like you don't know the reason behind it. So
Yeah.
still try to see it from a place of humanity is what I'm trying to say.
Femi, you had mentioned this earlier, right? I just want to like take a question off that. Like, when does the conversation with your partner come up to you? Like, when do you think that conversation can come up? A year deep, 2 years deep, 3 years deep, 4 years deep.
Body count? Body count
Yeah,
conversation?
when does the body count conversation? Like, where would you want to know?
Lamide, so the question, you asked like two
Mm,
questions in one, and I just got it. You said, when would you like to know, or when would you like to
mm-hmm,
tell your partner? You see, those two things,
mm-hmm,
when you break it down. So, for example, when would I like to know? Speaking selfishly, if I'm someone that cares about body counts like that, I would like to know as early as possible so I can jackpot. Like tell me 2 weeks in, tell me what before I started catching feelings, before I started, making
Mm,
plans in my head, naming
mm,
our children. But if I'm the one that is trying to tell you, me, I will wait too. So you're less likely to run.
right,
This is me
Wow.
speaking. This is me
right.
speaking. No, this is me speaking selfishly. Like
Yeah,
people are
yeah.
selfish. I will speak when you're less likely to run. When it's like, oh, the feelings are too deep. By that point, it's like, it's whatever.
This whole thing, I'm really realizing, and Nadia, I keep saying this, like every time I come on this episode, I really learn so much and many things start to make sense. And I'm really just realizing how body count is seriously centered on your own personal like views,
Perception,
Values, yeah.
yeah.
upbringing, morals, perception. Because we've said, so I don't know who brought this up, I'm sorry, but somebody said something about jealousy. So for somebody like that who is a jealous person now, it's like, if I'm gonna make you my girl, if I'm gonna make you my man's, I need to know who you've been with, you know? So like for them now, body count would be, it'll come up, probably come up like earlier on in the relationship, right? Let me know if this is something I'm going to use to judge you throughout our relationship, like jokingly, or if it's
Don't
something.
even go into it. Like that's the whole point of knowing early.
You
Why
guys,
would you
but
not go
it's
Uh,
no, but you guys, it's so
jokingly,
funny. I saw something. I saw something on Twitter where this guy came
mm,
and made a thread and was like, "Oh, every time he has a like a fight or he goes into a disagreement with his girlfriend,
babe.
she's always bringing up, that's
Mm.
why you slept with so many hoes. You know, like that's why you're community
Yo,
Yo,
dick. This
that's
one, this
fucked up.
one. You
That's
know,
fucked
it's
up,
That's
bro.
like,
really
That's
fucked up.
fucked
That's
up.
why you don't even go
That's
into
fucked
it
up.
if
you
you can't deal with
weaponize.
it.
can you guys see
Yeah,
why I'm
that's
like,
fucked up.
Yo,
Yeah.
and I
I'd
have to just
rather
quickly
just not
say
know.
it's a problem. It's a problem if you know and you're like, cool, and you guys go ahead with it, and later
And
on
you're now
in the
using it
relationship, you
to
start to weaponize that
You say
information.
you're cool, but
that's
you're not
that's
really
You're
cool.
not
It's
really
like,
cool. That's a
And
no no.
that's
do you
fucked
know
That's
the
up. That's
thing?
fucked up.
That's a lot of
That's completely
problem a lot
fucked
of
up.
people have. It's like be aware of because everything we're saying, I think everything in this
Exactly.
life is you know have to know yourself. Have enough self-awareness to know what you can deal with and what you can't.
when
If you
Lade
cannot
said this some few episodes back. Self awareness. I don't know what episode she said this
a
in, but
lot
like
of people do not have it. And it is the
uh-huh.
and
reason
that's a
why
problem. I agree with
it's
you
a
Mm-hmm.
1,000,000%.
problem.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It should be taught in classes.
Just from that understanding, what do you guys think about people who are hypocrites when it comes to this topic? Where it's like you have a certain amount of body count, but then you hear
Hmm.
somebody else's body count and it's like, what the
X.
hell?
Do you know the
X.
funny thing? I feel like a lot of guys are hypocrites about this.
Mhm.
Like, and
Thank
I
you,
think that's
because
where the double
thank you,
standards come
because
from.
that's where me I'm diving into now. We're getting into
Femi, I
the
love you.
male.
We don't
We're
we
moving
don't
closer
suffer.
to where me I want us to really touch on this topic, because every time this topic comes on, like men be misbehaving for
No,
real,
literally. And
for
okay,
real.
do you know the funny thing? I feel like, Femi, you said this earlier, right? It's a societal thing where for men, and maybe it was Dubem, you were the one that said it as well. Like for men, how many bodies you've had is kind of like a prized thing that you celebrate versus for women. And Lamide, you had also said
Mhm.
like with women and guys, there is that like ownership perspective of like, oh, I was the one to like I'm her first, or like I'm one of the very
You go
few to
first.
hit the ball, whatever. But a lot of guys are actually hypocrites because they be having lots of bodies, and then
Mm-hmm.
as soon as a girl has something similar, maybe even slightly less, they see her as a certain type of woman. And I don't get,
Oh
maybe
my
we should
god.
open it up for the men because
Please.
that pisses me
Yes.
off. It pisses me off a lot. And that's why for me, I flip the same way I see myself. Like the way I would want my body count to be under a certain level, not because of like I'm counting the numbers, but because I equate sex to a certain thing and like sex means something to me. I want that in a guy as well. Do you get? And so for me, I'm trying to find my own match. Something, maybe not like eye for eye, one for one, but at least something very similar.
You
But
would
guy,
think that men would do the same
no,
too.
they
You would
don't.
think that they will have the same idea, like the same, like, and that's the funny. Every time the thought process that women we have on these conversations is always very, very, very different from what
Mhm.
men have. Like, and it's always so unrealistic because and men, anyways, they'll be like too many. If the girl has had sex with too many people, she's a slut. If she's had sex with too few people, she's prude.
Yes.
If she's not had sex at all, what's wrong with her?
The
Do
Goldilocks
Oh
you
yeah,
analogy,
get?
men.
or what they call it.
Men, defend your case because we don't
Okay.
understand. Help us
We
understand.
don't. Please help us
Okay.
understand.
In all honesty, you guys are correct. There's no denying, like, you have to be really blind or living under a rock to say, oh, you don't see, like, the conversations around body count are very skewed
Hmm.
favorably in one direction. But I also want to point something out that's like some of the conversations we have revolving sex as a whole, man, woman, community, everybody, it kind of puts the onus on the man to be the one to perform. Like you hear things like, he didn't make me
How?
come. Wait, hold on. You hear things like he didn't make me come. From people that don't necessarily know where their own, um not to be crude, where their own clitoris
Mm.
is. They'll be like, oh, he couldn't find my clits. But you don't know where it is either. So like, how can you expect someone that, and this not, and I also know that it's
Who
patriarchy,
told you that?
they don't let,
Who
some
told?
people
Who?
don't know. Some people don't
Dubin. We're
know.
not
Some
about to do
people don't.
that.
No, wait.
We're not about to do
Okay,
Let's
I
be
that.
see what you're
honest.
saying
Let's be
because
honest.
girls are
Let's be
less likely to
honest.
explore
That
sexually
I was going to get that. I was going to get there.
their
Like the
body. Yeah,
patriarchy,
yeah.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Patriarchy and religion. But if we are just putting in the context of like sex, I'm coming to you as me. You're coming to you as you, and we're an adult. You're supposed to have unlearned some things from your past or whatever, and you don't know how to please your own self. And the conversation around people is like, he didn't even make me come, or he didn't do this, he didn't. It's like all of a sudden you're putting the onus on on the guy to be the one to garner, and not to go against this law of diminishing return. But you're putting the onus on the guy to go out there and be seeking experiences and learn from multiple, because at the end of the day, that's who you're going to learn it from. You're not going to learn it from porn. I'm so sorry. If you're not being with enough
Oh
people, if you
yeah.
have not done your homework, you're not going to know how to please another person. Right.
Dubim.
Yeah. Why are you
Dubim.
calling me?
I,
Why are
s-
you calling me?
wait. I see your point, and I'll raise you another one from the
Raise me.
great wise one, Ozzy Etomi.
Hey.
I love that woman's brain. She said something one time. She was like, Nigerian men only care about women's body counts because they will they will realize that they are bad at sex. Like they will know that they are bad at sex. Literally, is how I'm paraphrasing here. But
Oh
pretty much what
yeah.
she's, because it's like the more sexual experience that she has had, now you're
Mhm.
thinking, ooh, can I meet
Am I
up?
gonna
Can
measure up?
I am I going to measure up? So the same way you're saying that, oh, there's this pressure that, for guys to go out there and be experienced. Guys also still feel threatened when a woman is experienced as well.
How many people you've had sex with? Does that account to how good you are sexually?
Oh.
Yeah.
Abs- I think it could be a yes or no answer. Like for some people, like they could have had sex with six people and then they become master pros, or they'll have sex with one person and they
Mm-hmm.
figure that shit out, they crack that shit. Like I'm trying to think of a good analogy, like Lolade, but I can't. And there's for some people that 40, 50 bodies down the line, they still don't know what they're doing.
Uh okay, personally for me, I don't think it's about I don't think it's about the number. I feel it's about the or number of people. I feel it's about the number of positive reviews, right? Like you could have sex with 400 people, and out of those 400 people, only 10 people hit you back up, say, "Oh, my guy, like the way you bent me over, twisted me around was actually I've never had that in my life." I feel like that's the way I would measure, or that's the way I measure. Like, did you call me back after? If I don't hear from you, that means I did a shit job. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, that might not be healthy. It might just be, oh, I don't see you again. You did a good job,
Or
but I
that
don't
could
see you
just be
again.
your own personal way of measuring things.
Yeah, it's because
And
like the
that's
person
okay
is
too.
personally. So that's the way I just want to measure. Like,
Yeah.
did you hit me back
Okay.
up for a repeat
Oh.
performance? Like, did you give me positive
I
reviews?
think it doesn't mean shit. Like you can have 50, 40, I don't know, 100, 1,000. Like it doesn't mean anything in terms of like sexual performance to me. Like I think Ladi has mentioned this earlier too. Like people are different, women are different, bodies are different. Like you
Mm-hmm.
need to know what you're doing, and it's a communication thing. A lot, like a lot, like performance wise, there's a whole lot of communication that needs to happen about what do you like. When I do this, does this do anything for you? Type of situation that or I slept with 10 people last week, so I'm on a streak type of thing and I can do every and all. So yeah, it doesn't mean anything to be honest.
I feel like performance is so subjective. Like you have to communicate, and I think that communication piece is so important. Like, but I also feel like on the flip side, it's really hard for you to like be great at sex on your very first time. It's really hard. This was very interesting conversation. I feel like it took so many turns, but I'm glad it happened. I do have, so usually either I throw in a game here or like a very random fact at the end before we roll out. There was a random fact that I just found out about quite recently that I thought was very interesting, but it also makes a lot of sense. So apparently women with like no sexual partner prior to their marriage, so like you go in and your marriage is your husband is your only partner, they had the lowest divorce rates. So they were more likely to like stay in a relationship. It doesn't say if the sex is great or not, but they're more likely to stay in a relationship. Women with two partners have the second highest divorce rates. And then women with three or more have the highest divorce rates. And I thought that was interesting because somebody has said this earlier where even as a woman like going to explore, I think men feel
Where is the statistics for the men though? I'm sorry.
it doesn't say. I'm guessing because
And I'm not reading that article. I'm so sorry. Peer reviewed or not. Because this is what I'm talking about. Like, these are the intricacies and the nuances. Like, why will topics like this only look at statistics for women? Where's the statistics for the men? Who told you that me too? I would like to stay in a marriage, happily marriage with somebody who has had 5,000 partners. Like, where is it?
But Femi,
Sorry,
Femi,
laddie. I'm so sorry.
just interject a little bit. Yeah, I feel like why that study would not really work as well is a lot of men tend to have this idea that do that modern daytime or whatever. A lot of men do not initiate divorces. I don't know if that's the truth, but the way I see it, right? I'm
Now
saying
more
like
than ever, women
the
are realizing
numbers.
that what we're not subscribing to patriarchy, we're not subscribing to, all this like gender role, double standards, like all this,
yeah.
like people are realizing like let me tell you something. Imagine our parents' generation in this modern time. Many people bro, everybody will be separated left, right, center. Like, and
Literally.
I'm all for that because why should you take, oh, because I want to stay for my kids or like other things, because I can't afford to have certain things by myself as a woman, to stay in something that's not happy or that's not pleasurable for you. Like, why should you subject yourself to that? But then if you're not, this is another topic. Anyways, sorry.
It's another topic. It's
Femi,
another topic. It's another topic.
I like how everything is another topic, but I totally agree with you. Something that you guys said made me think about something. I feel like honestly, back in the day, sex was made to seem like it was for men. Like it was an activity for men, and then like women are just a passenger in the ride. Like,
That's very true.
and that, yeah, that in itself is changing, which we're happy about, but it also needs to change in everybody's mindset. Like women need to feel the confidence to initiate sex, because I feel like that's something that men have complained a lot about, where like men are usually the ones that feel like they have to initiate. And on the flip side, men also need to like put in more work. It's not gonna be 2 minutes. You're gonna spend some time, but like learn, all of that. But definitely, I totally agree with you guys. Very interesting.
Wow, that 2 minutes was very triggering for me.
Amazing.
I'm not gonna lie.
Sorry, it wasn't you now.
Very interesting story to be
All
honest.
my 2 minute brothers out there, I apologize on our behalf.
Definitely enjoyed today's conversation. Some very interesting perspectives, and it was amazing having Femi here back again as usual, the third unofficial co-host of the AP podcast,
Hey, gang.
and Dubem here as well. Dubem was an amazing
So,
sport, man.
I
Love your
know,
views on a
right?
lot of things. Please like, rate, 5 stars,
Share,
share,
subscribe. You know
subscribe,
the drill.
send to your family members, your co-workers, your friends, I don't know, everybody and
If
everybody
you need
that you
to
need to
feel
say,
something, if you need to, get
yep,
heated over
yep,
something. Not
yep.
me, not me
If
taking over the whole closing
Please
if you
spiel.
if you
do.
need if you need hints on how to
Oh
solve your
my,
own adult puzzle, please listen.
this is the right place for you. Come and share, come and rant with us. So we come your way again, same time, same place next week. Your favorite co-host Lamide and Lolade here for AP Adult Puzzle. Bye bye for now.
Bye, guys.
Sign
Bye.
out.